Mic check. Mic check. 1, 2. Mic check. Mic check. 1, 2. We in the building. This is how we wake up our ancestors to make sure they come into this place. Come on, let's go. Wow. We want to thank the drummers for their drum call. It's always nice when we can wake up the ancestors. That's how we do in our mother country. We tap the soil. We tap the ground. Sometimes we do it 3 times. And what we do is we wake up the ancestors. We invite them into this place. I learned a little song. I think we sung it a few weeks ago. It's Wali Wa, Ogungu Wali Wa. Remember that song? And the Gungun is Yoruba, and it means ancestors. And Wali Wa means come or welcome into this place. And why do we do that? We understand that as an African people, that even though we may reside throughout the diaspora, and the diaspora is wherever Africans found their way outside of Mother Africa. And we know that Africans has been spread out throughout the diaspora. But we understand that there's a common ancestry and there's a common root to this thing. We didn't get here by circumstance. We're exactly where we're supposed to be. And to allow that circle to be unbroken, we continue rituals that we bring from our past and we fast forward them up into modern day times. But every once in a while, we get the feeling that we have to speak in our mother tongue. And when we say Ogungun, which is a Yoruba word for our ancestors, we pray that it is sweet to their ears. And when we tap, we say Ogungun. And when we sing the song, Wale wai Ogungun wale wai. Let's try that. Wale wai Ogungun wale wai. Whoa, wale wai. Come on, you ready? Wale wai Ogungun wale wai. Wale wai Ogungun wale wai. Whoa, wale wai. But when you do it, you gotta walk smooth like this.
Okay.
Come on.
That's where Kendrick got it from, huh?
Wale wai Ogungun wale wai.
Wale wale gungun wale wa.
Wale wai Ogungun wale wai.
Wale wale gungun wale wa.
Wale wai Ogungun wale wai.
Wale wale gungun wale wa. Oh oh
Wale wai. Come on. Wale wai Ogungun wale wai.
Wale wale gungun wale wa.
Wale wale
Gungun wale wa.
Oh, wale
wa.
Come on,
Wale wale gungun wale wa.
Wale
Wale gungun wale wa.
Wale wale
Gungun wale wa. Oh, wale wa.
And when you're doing this, keep going. Listen to the heartbeat. Listen to the heartbeat. The drum symbolized the heartbeat of our ancestors. The outside drum, it symbolizes the voice of the children. The tone symbolizes the voices of the women that cry out for our freedom and our liberation. And the middle symbolizes the warrior and the black man. And it represents foundation. And we honor the black man, the black woman, and the black child. Come on, get that beat. Wale wa yo gungun wale wa. And we're going to do a libation. Keep singing. Come on. Wale wa yo gungun wale wa. We thank the ancestors. But before we do that, let's say elders. Do we have permission to proceed?
You have permission.
Thank you. And in the name of the Creator, keep singing. Let's go. By many names, the Creator of the heavens and the earth, who goes by many names. We invite you at this time to come and partake in all of our undertakings. And we say, Ashe. And to the ancestors who have sacrificed much throughout the Mayafa and the Middle Passage, and to the great disaster, we say that those ancestors whose names that we know and whose names will ever go down in the annals of time, and we say, may their spirits come and be with us. And we say, Ashe. And to all of those in our immediate families who have sacrificed and whose shoulders that we stand on, we ask grandmom and big mom and all of those men and women in our families that we hold dear, that their spirits will not be forgotten, and they come and reside with us. And we say, Ashe. And to all those great heroes and sheroes who sacrifice for our people, we ask that their spirits come and resonate with us. And we say, Ashe. And to those of us that stand in the circle, we pray that the circle will not be unbroken because of the sacrifices that we make today. And for all of those warriors that set foot on this soil, we say, come and be with us. And to the children and to the yet unborn, we pray that they will inherit a world that will be better because of the sacrifices, that we will continue to remember them. We will continue to uplift them. We will continue to carry on the traditions. We say the spirit of the children and the yet unborn, come and be with us. And we say, Ashe, 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 oh. Yebo. Ashe. It's such an honor to be here on this Sunday. And I thank you guys for making the sacrifice, because you could be anywhere. Brother Dante, how you doing, brother? Good to see you. It slid up in here. What you been doing with that brother? Well, good to see your smiling face. So when we come on Sunday, this is a time to venerate our ancestors. This is the time to build community. This is the time to talk to one another. This is the time to sit at the feet of the ancestors and the elders and the chief minister as he partake this wisdom. And it's an honor to be in this circle. Many people wish that they had elders in their community that can impart knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. I hear it all the time. And I tell them at 5525 Hartford Road at the TNAT Wellness Center, in this Mayat Circle of Enlightenment, this is the repository where that takes place. Yay, Bo. Every Sunday we're here, chopping it up. I missed a few Sundays. I had a chance to go to the Caribbean and lay on white sand beaches and frolicking around. You know, brothers frolicking now. You know, frolics frolic. I was frolicking.
Frolicking.
I was frolicking
Whimsical.
with the brothers, being whimsical. It took a long time because I used to be real tough. And I had to bring it down a little bit, skedaddling. I was on the white sand beaches, put my toes in the sand. Stirring it up. And I was there and I gave libation to my ancestors. And I took my 14-year-old daughter and we were down there chilling like villains. And it was beautiful going to the islands and seeing our people throughout the diaspora in the DR and Dominican Republic and seeing our people in the Bahamas. And they look just like us until they start speaking the other languages. And they're, oh, chocolate just like me. Don't speak a lick of English. But that's what colonialism and white supremacy has done to us. And some of them know that we're brothers. And some of them, because of the language barrier, think that there's something else. And I still greet them, peace, African, how you doing today? But those geographical locations that where we've been scattered throughout the diaspora, even though we may look alike, we speak different languages, and some of us believe that we're different people, but we're all the same. And this is the time of the great quickening and the great reckoning where all of our people have to come together. And people say, Trump. I'm saying Trump may be the best thing for us because now we'll start talking about communalism and collective work and responsibility and unity and stuff that we tried to avoid for so long that Dr. Winkler has been telling us about for the last 15 years. Pull your resources together. Teaching survival. Baba Asuar, protect yourself. So everything we've been telling people, we just hope that we continue to prepare ourselves here when the floodgates open and when the people come. We say, where you been, brothers and sisters? We've been teaching this all the time. But we're happy that you arrived at this point, and we welcome you into this place. Are you going to start a circle, or you want? How do you want to proceed? I'm rolling with it.
You know how to do it?
No, I'm saying, are we?
Oh, we
allowing
want
other
to feel
people?
like this.
No, I'm saying, are you allowing other people?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So we'll do some edutainment. I see Baba's here. We'll probably do some martial arts, I think. Brother B got his toes out, so I figure he going to play some music. Walk barefoot like Bob Marley. You know? Right. I met Dr. Sabi. He was walking around New York barefoot. Peace. Trying to be alkaline.
Trying.
Bobby, you got something for us? You look real spectacular with your lace. You're looking real sharp with your lace. You got a whole presence.
They do.
They almost matching. Y'all look beautiful here. Same energy. Cultural nationalists. Huh? The root chakra.
No, not the root.
Do you need a mic? What do you need? What do you need to be comfortable? Because there's people watching online and they want to be able to hear your beautiful voice as you lead us. Is there a stand?
Yeah.
It's behind.
Can
Can we get the Baba a stand?
All right, everybody, how you doing? So, as always, we're going to go back to the breath. The breath is one of the important things in the human body, of course. You know, like everybody else know, if you don't breathe, you won't be here. Is that right? I'm telling you now. So breath is one of the most important things. Okay. Good. So everybody stand up. Yeah, good. All right, everybody stand up. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna shake off last week, the day, this morning, negative energy like we always do. And we start off by just shaking. So but you have to really think about shaking, letting loose of everything that troubled you last week or this morning. We call negative energy. Nothing is bad. It's just negative energy where you need to just get away and let it go down to what? What we let it go down to? The earth. That's right. Because the earth will take it. We are ground beings. We have carbon in our body and carbon underneath the earth. All right. So I want you to make this noise like this now. Turn. Look, this is the way we want to do it. Turn. Turn. You turn the waist all the way around. So must turn the waist. Turn the waist. It's like a dance, mom. Turn the waist all the way around. Why we turn the waist? It's because now we're massaging our organs, okay? And then along with the quick breath, breathe it out and breathe it in, getting energy. All right, now deep breath in. Breathe out through the mouth, down to the floor. Go down with your hands, follow your hands down. Deep breath in. Deep breath in from the heavens. Now breathe out to the floor. I say breathe out to the floor because you don't want to breathe on nobody's face. Breathe in. Imagine taking up the energy, feeling the energy from the earth, gathering the energies from the heavens, bringing all that energy down. Now don't bend down. This will get last time. Bend it down. Come up. Energy from the heavens and bring it down. All right. That's what I want you to do is here. Where the right hand, yeah. Pull like you pull a bow. See the fingers up? Mine is crooked, but it's straight. Supposed to be straight up like that, right? And you pull the bow like this. And then this hand goes all the way until you get like that and let it come back down. Then you do the opposite side. Pull. Both hands open up at the end. Let them fall down. Now you do the opposite side of that. Pull. Let your hands come down all the way open, right, and down. All right, so now just breathe in. Breathe out through the nose on it. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Hands out. Hands up. Let it come down. Carry the tiger to the mouth. Breathe in. Bring it up. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Pull those lungs up with good air. So you want to start from the bottom, pull the lung up, not the top. So you breathe in and let it sink down, not the chest rise first. And breathe out. One last time. Breathe in. And breathe out. All right, sit down. One last exercise. Like I said, breath is everything. So you want to start breathing in. How you doing, Mom? You want to start breathing in to lower pockets of your lungs. So if you have a cough and then you know, well, that pocket of my lungs got cleaned out yet. You feel what I'm saying? Because we do what we call shadow breathing. You understand what I'm saying? So this is what I want to do. Follow my hand. Yeah. As I go up, we breathe. All right? Okay, you don't have to bend down. I don't want you to bend down. Not Ken bend down. This is the breath. All that coming up, we breathe it in. Correct? Then when I do this, what we doing? Yeah, bang. Ready? Again. Tongue at the roof of the mouth. I'm sorry. Let it out, man. Everything was strong. Amen.
Let's give it up for our Baba.
Something else, right? Something else.
Asante Sana, we are grateful and we thank you for your gifts. Is there anyone else? You got a mic over there? Mr. Fur, you gonna give us a song? What you doing today?
I've been writing. I like
Writing
to
is good.
share a poem.
Well, let's go,
Share a
please.
poem. In this world, brothers be killing brothers. And I'm saddened because it's sad. See, money is an object. It's a symbol of currency. So he took a gun as a symbol of courage. He put it to a man at an ATM who was getting some money so he could feed his family a little more than they had. 3 kids, yep. He was a dad and he was active in the community. They say good men don't come often, but he died when the gun fired often. He died when the gun fired often. He died because gunfire was often. In his community, he was all for peace and unity, yet was slain in vain, all for some change. He was slain in vain, all for some change. Point was he was slain. Do you know his name? He was a teacher, part-time preacher, storefront church, came up from dirt, often from birth, had a twin brother, had a crackhead mother, had a deadbeat father he could farm, but why bother? Graduate with a degree, he's a scholar. At the same time, his twin brother robbed and then hollered. Crip killer, he's a drug dealer. Hold up, let me let you understand this. He's a hustling pimp drug dealer who never had nothing, so we never had nothing. Never had no one, so we never felt nothing. Separated from his twin brother at 5. Never even wondered if his twin brother's alive until he robbed this at an ATM. Took $20 and looked back at him. Funny how this story might end, because he looked at his face and the man looked just like him. In this world, you see brothers, you killing brothers, and I'm saddened because it's sad.
Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Oh, thank you, dear brother, for sharing that gift. Is there anybody else that wants to contribute their portion? Mama, you got any for the community? We take all offering.
This is a story. Is it on? Okay, this story some of you might have heard before. I don't know if you remember this movie Mo Better Blues, but at the time that it was out, I went to see it and I liked the movie, but there was a sister in there who sang a song that really touched me. And I was running around the house singing the song all the time. But the lyrics weren't really positive. And my family got tired of me singing it. And they said, why don't you stop singing that sad song? So I decided to write something too. And I changed the lyrics to it. to a message that I thought was more positive. So it's been a long time, but I'll try to remember them now. You can never tell just what tomorrow may bring, but let's all hope that things are not as bad as they seem. Just like the tide, black leaders come and go. When will we attain African unity? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. One thing's for sure, we sure need a plan. We must take a stand. Oft times I wish we had our own land. Yes, our own land. A society where people act as they should. Yes, yes. A religion, black values, where we treat each other good. Well, I'm not saying it will be easy to rebuild such a place, though 1,000 people may swear they know the way. But I think I'll take some old time faith and try to start anew, just to stir up some fiery freedom blues. You can have your capitalism, take your Marxism too. Give me back my own communalism and watch the things I do. From loving and respecting our old to protecting our babies too. We'll do a real black thing without any doubt. Well, like I said, it won't be easy to rebuild such a place, Though 1,000 people may swear they know the way, but I think I'll take some old time faith and try to start anew, just to stir up some fiery freedom blues. Oh, but there's one thing about freedom I think that you should know, called Nguza Saba. It still can help us grow. It's just a base for us to start with, a foundation on which to build. So put some coal into my fire song and call it, call it, call it freedom, freedom blues.
Ashe, ashe, ashe. I love that song, and I love the original as well. And I probably was like you, going around the house singing Harlem blues, all in my feelings. Is there anybody else on this fine sunny summer day that want to share their portion?
Well, I want to say welcome back, Baba.
Thank you, Mama. I missed you too. We're gonna start the circle.
Okay.
Come on, Mama Faluke, join the circle. Let's give the sister some room.
I can't follow that song. That song was powerful.
Yeah,
That song gave us the prescription of what we need to be doing. That's it. That's it.
Ashe.
I'm being looked at like I need to do something. Well, this is a fine April 27th Sunday, and we want to welcome everyone who is present as well as those who are watching audience. And we hope that and trust that you will get not just something out of it, but it will be something to change your life for the better. Welcome, Akwaba.
Ashe, ashe, ashe.
So with no further ado, I think our chief minister is getting ready. If you guys can look at the handouts that we're going to...
Oh, yeah.
I know some people have came in late. You should have 2 handouts. I lost mine. Somewhere over there. You pass me that, Barbara?
I got some.
And today's topic, Inward Rite, returning to the sacred self. Okay. You ready there, brother? So I'm going to turn this over to our dear Chief Minister, Dr. Dennis Asuar Winkler. Let's bring this brother on with a round of applause. I know we're in a circle, but we want to uplift and, sometimes, when you're doing the work, you don't get your flowers while you're living. Every once in a while, we should clap our hands, stomp our feet, been doing a lot of studying for a long time, and when he passed out that stuff, you know he's been preparing for days and nights and no sleep and little sleep. And so give that brother a round of applause for taking time out his busy schedule to come with us today.
Peace, family. Ashe. Blessings to see everybody here today. It is a blessing to see our dear brother in all white. You know, not because he has white on, but just to see him, and he's here, and he just happens to have white on. Give Brother Curtis a round of applause and tell him he can't go away.
It's good to be back in the building. Y'all don't know. I've been up since very early. I was in Pittsburgh. I was in Pittsburgh yesterday celebrating the birthday of a national treasure, our poet laureate, August Wilson. I don't know if y'all know August Wilson is from my hometown in Pittsburgh. Fences, jitney, piano lesson. Well, his birthday was yesterday, so I went up to Pittsburgh and I celebrated with the families and friends up there, and it was beautiful. And this morning I went into a sacred rites, a passage. So I've been up since 6. We've been out. We ran. Well, we didn't run. We ran about 8 miles. Society of brave men out there.
So let's do this. So
it's an honor. That's why I'm in white.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's why I'm in white.
So I want to say,
I'm relaxed.
Give Brother Curtis a round of applause. We missed him. You tell him he can't go away that long. No time soon. All people are needed. All aspects are needed. So today, as Brother Curtis articulated, we're going to be talking about Inward Rite, a return of sacred self. I'm not sure if I did all of what Brother Curtis said, but what I will say is I'm always working. So, and I'll say is that I wrote this. I'm writing a book. I think I'm gonna keep saying it because it's kind of like it's a life's journey type of thing, right? And I just put out there. If you see on the screen, right, you'll see it says, "Welcome to Temple of New African Thought." Dr. Dennis Asuar Winkler, moral teacher, spiritual guide, scholar, activist. But underneath that, I have founder of Injia theory and counseling model. And I think that it's important that we develop our own models and that we continue this work, because I think sometimes we get stuck in the past. The way, or it's plural also, ways. That's Kiswahili. Yeah. So there's no, you can't, so yeah, so actually the name of the book that I'm writing on, I don't know, I have a subtitle, I can't remember, but it's Injia. Sacred Return of, I think, psychology, psychotherapy, and something else. It's like over collective something. But nonetheless, I'm working on it. Title might change. But I want to say is, again, when we look at this Inward Rite, that we really, really think about this. It's something that Mama Faluke said last week, or something that kind of had me think about continuing in this Inward Rite. I think she asked the question. She said, so when we look at the Inward Rite, does that separate us from the collective? And I'm going to say you can't separate us from the collective. I don't care how much you want to. But I will say is that we do have to be responsible citizens of the collective. And we are not as responsible as we need to be if we're not going inside of ourselves. Because many of us, lots of us in a society, we find it very difficult to go inside. And we sometimes think we are. But again, as I spoke about, I think it was last week or the week before, that that switch comes on. And it doesn't allow us to do deeper digging or going in deeper to really to that core true self. That aspect that I will identify as that spirit self. And I think it's really important that we also understand our genius. But I would argue that we really won't understand our own genius if we don't go in deeper, if we're not introspective, if we're not reflective. I know it's a hard thing for lots of us because sometimes we get caught up even in our thinking, we're ruminating and we can't control that thought. We don't know when to cut it off. It's okay to go in, but we have to go in with some sense of control, some sense of order, some sense of balance, harmony, reciprocity, as Mayat teaches, right? I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think Mayat is so simple. And it's so simple. It's really like sometimes we're looking for things that are so deep that we lose the depth in the simplicity of concepts, like in Gia, the Nguzo Saba, as Mama and Danu articulated. That song was really on it. I love it every time she sings it. I love anything that can stir me up inside. And I say that we have to go there because there is the place where I think that our true humanity lives. If we don't go there, in that place where it stares us up inside, I doubt that we can be really doing real work. Because in order to sing such a song and to feel such a song, and I brought all the sisters and the mamas out a few weeks ago, from Lauryn Hill to Nina Simone, I'm saying they go in deep. And we as citizens of the African community, I argue we have to go in deep. So I put here that, and I said earlier when I started, I think sometimes we get stuck in yesteryear. And there's nothing wrong with yesteryear, but yesteryear and today doesn't look the same. And what I realize is we overlook the genius in one another. And I argue that we should really tap into looking at the genius in one another. Stop taking yourself lightly. I'm speaking to myself too. Stop taking yourself lightly. Because I remember someone said, because you are great. I think I did a message on that. And of course, I'm speaking to myself as well. Because stop taking yourself lightly. Because you are one of a kind. You may have some hurt. You may have some pain. But as we spoke about last week, on the other side of that hurt and pain is your gift. But when we don't approach that inner self, that gift goes wild. It runs wild. It runs wild. And another thing, if you can't understand the brilliance in you, you truly can't see the brilliance in other people. And then we get caught up with brilliance in people who honestly don't, I'm not going to say they're not brilliant, but they're not really supposed to be the ones that's leading and guiding. Because we look for certain types of stimulation that is external rather than going to situations that can take you internal. External is okay. But the real work is inside. So that the inside can manifest on the outside. Oh, I think he was coming for food or something. They be hoping we open on Sundays. But the real work is on the inside. I'm saying look at each other and really begin to see the brilliance. Because I tell you, I'm thinking about even when we talk, and we talk about the good old days, the Dr. Ben's and Clarks and all that. But where is the Dr. Ben and Clark, Amos Wilson of today? It's not that it doesn't exist. It's that your eyes are not open. And we take each other lightly. I'm pardoned for going up. But as we take each other, is it you? Are you one of those people? You are in your own way. You're something of a special person. It may not be in that capacity, but in some capacity, you are a gift. And I've been doing a lot of reading around giftedness and all this other thing in the Eurocentric framework, but I'm also saying that Black African people, especially in the United States, are very gifted people. Collectively, I'm talking about collectively gifted. And I argue due to our pain, due to our experience, on a collective level, we are some of the most gifted people on this earth. We had to tap in. And as Mama Faluke was speaking about weeks ago, and I agree with her, that Black African people, I'm going to say especially in the United States or in the West, I'm saying in the West because my wife's from the West and she been here too. She took a trip, took a boat ride. They went down the street to Jamaica, but then also they flew a plane over here. What I mean is the ancestors went. So I'm saying in the West, due to our harm, due to chattel slavery, the experiences we had. But if you don't tap into that hurt, you will continue the process of harm. You will continue the process of perpetual trauma from one generation to the next. And you have to understand that you are great. Because when you understand that you are great, you allow other people to be great. I have here what is an inward rite? It says inner transformation, not just outer ceremony. Inner transformation, not just outer ceremony. And outer ceremony is needed. But again, if the inside doesn't match the outside, which is plain, you should feel some kind of way about that. Not to beat yourself up, but say, you know what, I gotta do some more work. Does my inside match the outside? Am I practicing the Nguzo Saba? Where have I fallen short? Am I practicing Maya? Where have I fallen short? It's difficult from my standpoint to practice the Nguzo Saba when you haven't practiced inner Mayat. What do I mean by that? Hold on. I was about to ask you question, right? So what does that mean? Mom and Donnie Mike can help us out. What do you think I mean by that? Okay, go ahead. You can help out. How about right? Give her the mic, brother. Give her the mic. She don't want to take the mic. She's a little stubborn. Yeah.
I think of the principles of my right offhand.
Okay, that's where we want to go.
Okay. Balance, harmony, order, reciprocity, propriety, truth, justice, righteousness.
Are you being true with yourself? Are you practicing justly? Is there harmony going on inside of you so that you can be in harmony with people outside of you? Are you in balance? Or is it Mayat, which is also an ancient Kemetic goddess, a symbolic, a symbolic deity that represents truth, justice, balance, harmony, order, reciprocity, propriety, properness? How are we operating properly? So when I'm saying inner, how are these things operating in you? Do you feel like you're in harmony? Now we all got it. It's always a struggle, but are you fighting the fight? Or are you just giving up and giving in? Are you on a continual path of balance? Are you on a continual path of getting to your higher self in a real way? Or are you still doing the same things you've been doing for a lifetime? Are you still playing with people's feelings? Are you still succumbing to your desires and addictions, and in the process hurting people. It's not a bad thing if you are. It just said there's still work there. Or have you convinced yourself? Have you rationalized that it's okay? Because one thing I know is if you are not in order inside, you can't see or feel for others on the outside.
I know you really don't want to bring him up in this, but I think it's a good example as well as me looking at myself. And I'm thinking about Shannon Sharp, and I'm thinking about what he introduced himself to after being, told by two different people. And I want to know what that looks like. Was he in touch with himself, or was he externally grounded? And that's what made him make the decisions that he made. Because to me, being an African in America, I'm always very cautious about my relationships with white people. Not because I dislike them, but because of the history that we've had with them, the trickery that they played upon us, and the manipulation. So does the power and the money deceive us so much so that we don't get in contact with ourselves? Or are we just running nilly-willy and whatever happens?
I don't know if I can answer that, but even that reminds me of like O.J. Simpson, and these levels of comfort that I don't want to say people may get into in certain circles, and that famous line or the phrasing of "I'm not black, I'm OJ. I'm OJ, baby," and it's like, but then I also think about what Jay-Z said, where, okay, like, so I try to think about that from that standpoint. Like, you could be comfortable, but then also you got to remember that depending on the situation, you still might be put right in a box that you don't think that you're even in. So you got to know who you are in all circumstances.
Former NFL player, but he was a tight end?
Yes.
NFL player, has his own podcast now, doing exceptionally well. He invites who he wants to invite, and from actresses to comedians, and they have some very interesting topics. They talk about current things. They talk about people that are getting a lot of attention now. And he was advised by our Baltimorean comedian Monique, as well as Cat Williams. You're about to, hit it really big. And so we advise you to be wise in your decisions. Well, he wasn't. And he got entangled. Isn't that what Jada calls it?
So I think, if I can, I think the problem is that sometimes I think we should look at things through a racial lens, but I also think we look at things exclusively sometimes through a racial lens. If he had not, let me just take this out of that. Take the race out of it for a second. Just take the white girl out of it. Excuse my language. Just take her out of it. Huh? Yeah. Just take her out of it. And let it had been a black woman. He still would have been out of order. It doesn't look. So sometimes, again, in our lenses, we allow the race thing it's important, but it's not the all. Let's just take the white woman. Look, y'all might say that's a strike already. Strike. But let's look. Okay, put a black woman in the place. He was still operating out of order. Because if it was a sister, I don't even know what happened. I think Brother Curtis sent me something and I looked at it briefly, but I've been kind of tapped in. But But I do realize that there's hurt. To answer your question, though, let's have a conversation around that. Is yes, there's a desire there that money just allows him to fuel his addiction, so that he can externalize or get external gratification in whatever way he can with a lot of money. He's looking for external stimulation. He needs that continuously. So he's doing and saying things. It's like we have normalized kinkiness in our culture. We know when we leave here, we got a whole nother thing going on out there. And we try to normalize it. Oh, just smack me in the bed. Like, I mean, I get it. I'm just saying, sometimes we need a little extra stimulation, and we don't know where to stop. No boundaries. I'm not saying don't have a little fun. But if you can't ever, when you have an insatiable desire for external pleasure, you have to check yourself. If that was a black woman, a white woman, an Asian woman, he has an issue. He has a commitment issue with himself. First and foremost, he has something inside him that is hurt that he's looking to heal externally. And money has allowed him the ability to do that. And that is what many of us are in. We are in that situation. And if we had the chance, we would say, I do the same thing. Somebody explain.
I'm gonna say allegedly because I'm not reporting on it as much as I'm giving information that I just have heard. So everything, don't take anything I say, just take it with a grain of salt. Do your own research. But
allegedly, yes.
Allegedly, he was aggressively pursuing a young woman who, I don't know the age. Okay, he was aggressively pursuing a young lady, and despite her pushing him away, eventually they had some type of a relationship. I don't know what type of relationship, but it was intimate. And on multiple occasions, although they already had an intimate relationship, he was aggressively sexually assaulting her. And I'm saying that lightly because it was very vivid in how they described it. But she did not stop the relationship, the overall relationship. It continued. But apparently she also didn't want the interaction, but she didn't know how to get away from it. So it was like she felt coerced or forced to stay in a relationship with him, although she didn't want to be in that relationship. And on multiple occasions, he was sexually assaulting her. And I don't want to put more detail because I don't know more detail.
Yeah, so allegedly, right? Because I don't know much about it, but I do know from a conversation I had with somebody is that part of that was also part of their sexual act as well, like that the way that they kind of say it again. So they do it like sometimes they're role playing, they're aggressive and all that, and then other times, like even on the phone, like she's saying stop. I did hear that she's saying stop, but someone told me allegedly that basically this is what they did, like dominatrix, like beat you up. Let me beat you up. You bi this and all that. To people get kicks and giggles out of that. That's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, and people would say, well, brother, you too square. And what I'm saying is, I'm saying there is a limit to everything. If you don't have boundaries, then there's a problem. So to answer the questions, I won't get stuck here, is that he and many of us are out of order. And even if she didn't, you can also see where there was something not going on right there with her. Because why couldn't she get away? I mean, I'm just saying. I understand psychologically why a person can't get away from an abusive relationship, because it's psychological stuff going on. There's emotional and attachment issues and all types of things, and people will take advantage of you. And I suggest that as African Black people in America, and I'm putting out in my book that we have collective attachment issues. Look, don't take my stuff, y'all. Look, it's on this video. So we have collective attachment issues. And that means that the wound that we have not healed from not being able to return to our motherland, Mother Africa, is still with us. And then we want to be everything else, quite like a child who has not had quite a great experience with his or her own mother. They are going and they're having identity issues. They try to morph into anything to be accepted. And that level of acceptance is insatiable. And that's why I say we have to dead ourselves with love languages if we're not healed. Because I don't care how much affirmation and acts of service or whatever it is, you will never get enough. So we have to do the work, and we have to realize it's us. It's always us. Whoever side is on, both sides. One might have a heavy fist and one might have I'm just being passive. It's still an issue there.
So it's like the disease of addiction. When one first gets their first hit, they're always chasing that, but they never get it. So they have to go. So if it's sexual perversion, then you wind up doing basic things, and then you just start, and then you climb to unmentionable
to experts. Things. Yeah, expert level. I mean, it's a real thing, and we don't know. What I'm saying is we are so blind, but also participatory at the same time.
Because we want that gratification.
We want the gratification, and we like people who do these things because they're fun. They are so fun. There's nothing wrong with it. Everybody has their gifts, but this gift is operating in this womb. And we love gifts that operate in their womb. And because lots of us feel heard, we got our stuff that we haven't dealt with yet. And now, so we connect and relate to that. We like to be, and another thing I'm putting in the book is that we have this insatiable level of need for stimulation, which has helped us, but also harmed us. We are some brilliant people. What do I mean by that? We are brilliant because we have found ways to cope. But at some point, coping is not enough. Go ahead, Sister Trini. Your eyes were up. Take it easy on me, Sister Trina. Take it easy.
Yeah, I just had a lot of thoughts that was coming to mind. I do feel like when talking about what's the guy's name again?
Shannon Sharp.
Shannon Sharp or whatever.
Born and raised.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I feel like it's on so many different levels or whatever. I don't think it's just a sex perversion or whatever. And I don't even want to, because I think it's. I don't even want to give my opinion on that, but it's more so like outside of even like maybe an age thing, getting older, maybe having some issues surrounding that too.
What's that?
I feel like because the young lady was she was a young girl. She was just 19, so she's still in teens or whatever. So experience level is not. She's still coming to her own, I'll say, but also OnlyFans type of person as well. So I feel like, and then also he had did in one of his interviews or whatever, he was saying that he's chasing, like he's going to go where he's celebrated. So so he felt like a woman of color, he's not celebrated. So that means to me, I feel like there's some history right there. Maybe he has experienced things, and let's talk about it. Colorism in the Black community, that's a real thing, and I'm pretty sure maybe he had dealt with some of that trauma or whatever. So I feel like he's operating in some deficit that he's trying to fill, like some void or something like that, and he's in search for it. And I kind of get like it's along the lines of what you're saying. I feel like,
everything you're saying is what I'm saying. And I'm never really saying. I noticed the sex was a piece. I don't know about the story. So the piece is he has an insatiable desire for pleasure and stimulus.
Yeah. It
doesn't matter what it is. It's going to operate in all types of areas. It could be sex. It could be feeling good on the mic. It could be, it could show up in many kind of ways. And all those things that you're saying are hypotheses of perhaps where it could come from. And that it also goes back to our trauma, the childhood trauma that we speak about, that I spoke about, then also the collective historical trauma that brought that about.
And then the other thing that I'll be done is it's really difficult to get to that. Meaning like to go inward and to face the thing that you're running away from. And like you said, the money is what
fuels it.
Exactly. Help him to soothe that portion of himself, but it's not but it's not allowing him, or he sees use that money to get the therapy or whatever. I'm not saying that he is or not getting that, but something's missing. And
but when
it's difficult to go in because now you face with a lot of pain and hurt and all these things or whatever. That doesn't feel as good as once you can do all these things.
That's part of the issue, and I thank you for that. Part of the issue is when you have money, sometimes it can blind you. Sometimes I'm coming to you, Mom. Well, it can blind you to such a degree that you feel like you have done better than everybody else. You feel like somehow you are more genius than other people. So you more deserving, and you feel like, look, I can't take any advice from you because obviously you're not where I am. See, that's still being caught in the white capitalistic capitalism that Mama Danu spoke about earlier in her song. But
hey Dennis, if I could just share, I heard him. He actually said people were getting on him because he kept dating young women, and his quote was, "People keep saying date your age," and he said, "I'm a date my wage."
Really?
Yes, that was his quote, and now that quote is actually coming back to haunt him. WAGE. So now it's actually coming back to haunt him.
That's what he said?
That's what he said.
Allegedly, he did say that?
Well, unless they AI'd it. They could have AI'd it, but that's what it said. That's what he said.
I actually want to just mirror something you're saying, but maybe from a different point of view. That I think Shannon Sharp is a unfortunate example of the side effects or the consequences of like a bigger problem in the culture, because he's one person, right? But there's something that is even more jarring in my mind. There are so many. Okay, so at one point on television was highly curated, and it had to go through a filter in order to get out there. And now it's direct to consumer, straight from the person, with no filter in between. So there are podcasts, and there are like shows like Pop the Balloon shows and all these types of things where nobody's filtering it. And if anything, they're actually pushing it through because they want the attention and the views, right? But they don't know the harmful side effects and consequences of those same things. So for instance, on like these Pop the Balloon shows, sometimes the host of the show will talk to contestants of the show and hit on them and flirt with them in a highly suggestive and horrible way, and then take them to the back mid-show and perform sexual acts, and it's recorded, and then they put it on a pot online right after with nobody, no filter, no barrier, no anything. So then a child reasonably can watch that and then think that that's a way to behave in so many ways, or the things that they're saying are okay to be done. And then so Shannon Sharp is one example of a person in a culture, but I think a bigger thing is that all the people who can watch all this stuff, right? If you really think about it, they're those same hosts can continuously do this. I mean, multiple times on shows and never get checked, right? But then Shannon Sharp gets an example. So what it says is like, oh, not everybody gets caught with if you do bad, suggestive, vile things. It's like, oh, every once in a while somebody gets caught. But there's no like, it's
let me say this. And to me, it's not about whether they got caught or not.
And it's more than the caught thing. I don't want to make it seem like caught. I'm saying it's wrong, but it's out there.
Right. Because it's a problem.
It's a problem.
And it's never, I agree with you that it's always a problem that is societal. It's a society level issue. And that's why we're always saying, not as just an individual level, it's a society level issue. And we have these, we have taste buds that like these things, whether or not we want to admit it or not, even in the circle. We like these things. Even if we don't like them, we find they do something for us to watch these things many times. I think you had something, Mom.
I want to know what happens to us, the individual, if they keep pressing the button for pleasure they keep pressing the button to feed the emptiness, what happens to that wound? What happens to that wound? Because it seems like to me, the more insatiable you are, no matter what the addiction is, you're just layering and layering. So how do we get to excavate all that stuff out so we can really see the true self?
So let's go there. All right, let's get back on the track. Right. So I mean, and that's exactly what today is about. It's about returning to self. It's the inward rite, returning to sacred self. Right? Because again, we have all these layers that we've been talking about over the last few weeks. These layers of emotional dysregulation and intellectually just strengthened, that covers up the real us. We're operating without. We're debating intellect versus emotions, and I'm telling you, both of them can be problematic. I argue, I'm talking against even my own people that come from. We overdo things in this country, and we even overcorrect things. So much so that intellect doesn't mean anything. And when you're in a society where emotions rule, I know the emotions became more popular lately. At one time they were downplayed. Now people are overcorrecting emotionally. And when I say overcorrecting, I mean that we went too far with it. We are not in Maya. We're not in balance. And now those with all the emotional riffraff have a place called social media that we just can't get our eyes off of. And we know they are not. I don't know how many times over the last 15 years, this brother can attest, or even more than that, is that I told people, these people in the conscious community that are doing this riffraff in the name of Black consciousness is not going. I don't care how many people gravitate towards it, they are going to destroy it. And then, oh no, they waking people up. Waking people up with what? The devil always puts sugar on a thing. What's inside of it that's going to kill you? Like, you gotta give them. Everybody got it. No. We have to be the whole people accountable, not because they're popular. Even to the point where you got conscious people saying, I got 100,000 views. What you got, 10? Well, that mean I'm more legit. And conscious people echoing that. But the reality is, if you really about it, the reality is the person with the less views probably has something more anti-system or anti-status quo. But we get caught in that because our own desires. It's not even about them. It's not about Shannon Sharp. It's our own desires to lift up or gravitate us towards things. And in fact, look past the very brilliance in our own circles, in our own selves. I'm saying we will not ever get there if we cannot tap into ourselves and tap into the brilliance that's inside of our own spheres. So I was thinking about a sister, and I put here the rooms that I've walked in, and I think that sometimes people who can, I don't think we really understand. People who operate at that level, for the most part, they do it with a smile and a veneer of the shining. The veneer is shining. They look good. They doing all the things. They doing all the flashy things. They got all that going on. But then we call people who have emotional breakdowns crazy. When I think about Lauryn Hill, I really think about a person, right? Now that doesn't mean that it didn't disturb her. But what I am saying is, when you got a serious heart, or Nina Simone or somebody like that's why I brought them up. When you have that, you cannot operate in that mess. But we are operating in the mess and we're acting like we're not. And the thing is that, and I'm saying, and I'm saying that as a person, I feel like a kindred spirit, that I'm saying when you walk through certain doors and you really see what's going on out here, you cannot continue that process. You know how many people come to me talking about, well, we can get this money. Oh, you can get that money. Me and Brother Curtis was talking the other day. We have to really get a grip on these things. Non-for-profits even. We talked about it. We're operating in it. And we in our meeting, the last meeting we had, we talked about where are the children at? Where are the youth at? And me and Brother Curtis been having conversations for months now, or maybe a few years, about this whole non-for-profit thing. And then everybody, then what we do is we say, well, you gotta get your money. But the reality is they in non-for-profits that are not revolutionary and will not be revolutionary because they are regulated by the very thing they say they're fighting in a real way, not a make-up believe thing. It's called you can go, but go this far or you're not gonna get your funding. In fact, they so witty with it. I went through a whole training that taught you about how non-for-profits are limiting. And guess what? The non-for-profit is the one that gave the training because they know, even though you know you ain't gonna do nothing. But it makes you feel good to know that this is scandalous. You have to use certain words. You can't get grants, and you have to continue to play the part. And some of us live off of grants. I'm not saying everybody's in grants they're doing wrong. I'm just saying it becomes the way of surviving and thriving. And then we actually put these people up there on pedestals. Look, he got this non-profit and that non-for-profit. She got this non-for-profit and all this type of thing. But when people are really on the ground, grassroots, doing things, putting their own money into things, we are not looking at them and we're not supporting them. Because our children, as the sister said the other day, when me and Brother Curtis were at a lecture the other day, what was the name of the presentation? I'm sorry, Rise Up. It was about Freddie Gray, the 10-year anniversary. Sister Dr. Raheem did a documentary on the Freddie Gray uprising 10 years later. And one of the points that she pointed out that was kind of in alignment with what he and I have been talking about for some time is that our children are in the non-for-profits. They're getting paid. You're talking about where the next soldiers? The next soldiers have been told, go get that bag. And some of them ain't getting the bag. They getting raped in the process. Because lots of people working for them, it's not even stable for us. Because once the grant funding runs out, the program ends, and you got to find another one, and then you got to fire a whole staff, and then you got to go hire new staff, and then you in and out. It's in flux. It keeps you out of balance. We have to look, and then we got to also talk about this DEI thing. I'm sorry. This DEI thing. We're fighting for DEI, but have we asked the question, what is DEI doing in a real sense on these levels? When we really look at the statistics, it's a lot of times, I'm not saying DEI is a very broad thing, but the reality is DEI is not enough. I'm saying, look, I already know. I taught at this white school up there. I know I'm qualified. I know I am. More than qualified, more than some of them that's up in there, if not all of them in my program, in the department. But that doesn't mean that they didn't hire me because they need to fit a quota, and they thought I was safe enough to be up in there. But I can't be up in there like that because it thwarts you, it stumps you, it stops you from really doing what you need to do and speaking how you want to speak. Because now you're speaking towards a paycheck versus truth. And then nobody, I'll be honest with you, ain't gonna stop me from saying what I'm gonna say. And I'm not a very aggressive person, but you still ain't gonna stop it. Because even when you're calm and saying it, that even stings more. And look, I could do some things, but you ain't gonna control me or owe me. What I'm trying to say is the rooms that I walk in, I see this stuff. The different businesses, the different organizations, the different companies. I've seen it where people sell themselves out. It's a rat race, as Bob Marley spoke about. And we're all caught in this rat race. Not until we realize that we have to do that collective thing that Mom and Donnie spoke about with the Nguz, and we take it as a joke. No, we take it as a joke. The Nguz Saba is something you say around Kwanzaa time. It's not something that you really do. And then when somebody tries to check us and say this ain't in alignment with the Nguzu Saba, then well, you gotta get his. Well, you got children. Well, children need to be on the ground too. I'm sorry. Some people, like Lauryn Hill, could not. Lauryn Hill and what's the Bible with the who was an actor, athlete, and all that type of thing. There's many people like that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Paul Robeson and people like Nina Simone, people like Bobby Dick Gregory, even people who really put themselves. I'm talking about they are not, especially in today's time. They are not. They are a very small minority if they exist at all. And the reality, people say, where are our leaders? Malcolm X used to be on the actual television. They will not let another person on the television is speaking like they spoke. And I'm saying we should not. We should stop the thing to say these people don't exist because they do. And if they don't, who are you? Who are you? Because I'm saying I already know I am. I'm asking you, who are you? If they don't exist, who are you? And what are you doing? So getting to the what I want to do at this time is this song. I want us to listen in, kind of take some notes. On your paper, there's some keywords.
Spirit, touch me now. I know you're on the ground. I've been here before.
Breathe.
Don't
Listen. Reflect. Let's talk.
Your laws make you scared of changes. They're with you always through love. I know you're close. Closer to me, closer to me, closer to me, closer to me. Spirit go. My heart is on the ground. The sky's falling down.
Would you want us to think? If you want to articulate, that's fine as well. If anybody's willing to, I have a question. Where have I performed healing or wisdom outwardly, but still needed to return inwardly?
So it came to my awareness that I was, and not that I wasn't well intentioned, but
Yes.
but I was definitely performing on social media. And I realized social media is a bit of an addiction. And the ways I was performing more specifically. And once again, well-intentioned, it's just the awareness wasn't there at first, right? So I'm a YTT 200 yoga certified, right? And I went through my yoga certification. At first, I was very much like, in my ego. So I was doing like handstand push-ups and like the most complicated poses I can, and I'm almost borderline hurting myself because I'm a black man doing yoga. So I also was like, I don't want to look like these white women, you know what I mean? Which was a lot of my ego, right? But I feel like I completely missed the point, which was the meditative part and the reflective part. And it took me a while to get that. So it slowed down into what would be more what you'd anticipate, like out of like yoga. And even the most easy pose isn't easy because this is a point to it, even if it seems easy. And then there was another version of that where I got very meditative and I would just sit and meditate. But I was doing it online because when I'll be by myself, I couldn't even sit by myself for 5 minutes without moving, without finding something else to do, without checking my phone. So I was using this validating thing, which is going online. And I'm like, okay, well, if I'm in front of people, I know I'm going to sit there and do it. because now I don't want to look like the guy who doesn't do it. And then even more than that, you know, I was performing. I was performing it more than even being reflective during that time, because I was just staying quiet. I wasn't actually going inward. And so in these practices, I will say this: the validation factor worked, because I went from being able to meditate for 5 minutes to over 40 minutes, and I was doing 40-minute videos on live on a regular basis. And I did over 200, I did 250 videos exactly before it clicked that I was performing. And then although I could do 40 minutes of being on Facebook Live and showing everybody, look at me meditating, look at me be great. And let me also say, and this is very vulnerable and just honest, although I was doing that at that time, 40 minutes and all that stuff on an everyday basis, I was still arguing with my wife. I'm still yelling at my kids. I'm still getting frustrated about small things. I'm still like all the things that you'd associate with that person that could meditate for 40 minutes a day. I wasn't actually able to do any of those things. And then when I stopped doing it online, which I had to completely do a fast from social media completely. But when I stopped doing it online, I couldn't stay focused long enough to even continue the practice daily, even though I was doing it for 250 days. So I realized how much of the work I wasn't doing. And then the harder thing was that although I could meditate for 40 minutes online, I still couldn't even do 10 minutes by myself, which is, I mean, it's very telling. Like it, and that's how I know it was all performative. And it wasn't well intentioned. It's just like the real work wasn't being done. And
so
I'm
you're
trying
saying
it now.
So you're saying that it wasn't that you even realized what you were doing when you were doing it.
Yeah, because it was well intentioned. I'm like telling everybody like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do 1,000 days of meditation and all the rest of this stuff. And I'm talking about it regularly. I'm doing it. It's not like I'm not doing it. I'm like, yeah, you could watch my videos. I meditate every day for 40 minutes.
So like a lot of yoga, I have a colleague who says the yoga is about, a lot of people get caught in the postures, even the students who come on. And they want to learn a new pose or do this or do that. And then we come in here and they're like, oh, I don't want to do chair yoga. I want to do the real thing. And then she says, well, and her suggestion was that yoga is really about being mindful within yourself and being present. Whereas many of us, I would say we struggle with being present and being mindful. And what we think is healing is escaping, not necessarily dealing and being present, not going to your core, but really escaping this whole reality. I'm not saying there's no utility there, but that is an overused thing. It's an overused adaptation to trying to heal. So sometimes, and I appreciate what you're saying, because I think lots of us really is not about what we think we're doing. We're not disingenuous. We just don't realize the shadow side of ourselves, that there's a reason I'm getting something out of this. You know, I'm saving the world, but what am I getting out of it? And why did I put up with it so long? You got something there, brother? Sister Trina?
Talk about spirit. Just share my personal story as well. I remember, well, it was years back or whatever. I remember, being in this world, sometimes you can't hear your spirit speak to you or whatever. It can be so chaotic and all the things that's going on. You don't know if it's spirit or whatever talking to you or not. And I remember at one point in time, it was so loud telling me I need to do a certain thing. And I remember even sharing with someone. I'm like, it's telling me, but I don't know what's going on, but I keep having this thought keep coming to me that I need to do X, Y, and Z. And I wasn't doing it because I said it don't make sense to me. It was so left field or whatever. So I wasn't listening to it. And I didn't think it was spirit guiding me or anything like that.
Mhm.
But once I started praying and actually and also fasting as well, believe it or not, I did do that. And I'm saying it to myself because I wish I can be be like that again. I don't know. But I was fasting and praying at least 2 times a day, and I was actually praying about things that was I guess hindering me. I was so specific, like those things that I had trouble dealing with, the things that I was running away from. I was praying to those things or whatever. But in doing so, I got clarity, and I was able to get, I feel like, guidance and things like that. And I think it helped me to be who I am today. Not to say I'm all this, but I feel like I'm a much stronger person than the person I was back then or whatever. And then I can look back and reflect back to when I felt the urge to, when I felt like spirit was telling me to do a certain thing. I'm like, that was the whole time. That's what that was. It wasn't just a feeling that I got. It was actually something that was telling me, giving me direction, and I was unable to hear it at that time. But if how life happens, sometimes it pushes you. You can run away from a thing and like, no, girl, this is where you're supposed to be at, or whatever. It is not that you're choosing, but like put you in that direction. If that makes sense to you.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, hold on one second there, brother Fur. I was going to say, so I think if we can, and I thank y'all for sharing. If we think about it in this way, I'll share how it shows up in my own life, because I think it's a continual thing. Some are further along the process than others. Like, see, Brother Curtis is actually showing that he's been working real hard for the last few days, and he's meditating now. So he should. Thank you, brother. We love you for being here and all that. Look, give me the hat. Look, don't fall on the floor. You praying? Look, I'm praying, brother. I need me a praying man. That's what the sisters tell me they were like, I need a praying man. But it's like this. Okay, so as you grow, sometimes you can get in your mind like you're doing good. You're like, I'm doing good. And then you, like, for example, I'm a therapist, so I'm working with people every day. I mean, you got the stuff, right? And not to say that you're not further along, but the reality is the journey never stops. So it's like you sitting there, and I think it's a privilege if you really tap in, because I'm sitting with people every day. And to me, the best way to do that is allow their life to be a mirror of your own. And to me, that is how I, because look, I'm helping, but I'm also receiving. You dig? And if I don't see it in that way, because we can get clouded a bit at times and not see that, that mirror is shining, and it will allow you to check yourself and allow you to go inside of yourself. And I think when you're not doing that, that's when perhaps, performing healing and wisdom outwardly, but still needed to return in. Because it's like I'll give you an example. I started doing domestic violence classes, and it was so enlightening. It's like you just don't know what you don't know, and until you learn some things. And of course, I'm not a person that's domestic, like a habitual person that commits domestic violence. But what I am saying is that we all do some of the things, though. We might not get up to the state of abuse, but we all, like, for example, some of us can be real good at being passive aggressive, and you don't even realize that you're being passive aggressive rather than being direct. So it's those type of things that it helps you see. Or the whole idea of abuse is that when you're trying to maintain or gain control over the circumstances within this relationship. It could be a simple thing that you don't even realize, because we see abuse as this thing of someone doing something physically, sexually, emotionally, psychologically, but it can be anything you do to control that relationship. And lots of times it's really because we haven't learned to control ourselves. And what happened is so in order to help out ourselves feel secure, we try to control the situations around us. And that right there, it doesn't matter how far you're along the process, I think that we all can reflect on our next level, or what do I have left? What is those blind spots? Because we all have blind spots. You had something else?
Yeah, I
Quickly
do.
though.
I do have one. Yeah, no worries. So as I mentioned with the last example, I stopped social media, and once again, things were well intentioned. But there was something else that I was doing that was well intentioned, but I didn't even realize how it was impactful. So I do affirmations with my daughters every day, and once again, well intentioned, not like a bad thing. And it's really, I think, a good thing. And pretty much I just tell my daughters, hey, say your affirmations. I'm strong, I'm powerful, and they do that every morning, right? And I realized that, like, in recording it, I'm like performing it, because I might even be frustrated with them in the morning. You didn't eat your oatmeal, and you forgot to put your shoes on the right foot, and you forgot your book bag. And then I'm like, all right, okay, get yourself together, let's do this recording, right? So that was very performative. And I'm owning it also, because I'm trying to be more accountable for my own stuff. But by stopping social media, I stopped recording it. But then I stopped affirmations. But what I will also say is the intent also had an impact, because then my daughters, after some time of me not doing it with them, they were like, Daddy, why are we not doing affirmations anymore? We do them every day. And they started doing it, right? So I'm like, although it was performative, it still had a positive impact. And then there's one other example. It's the same example, but one day I dropped my daughter off to school, and they closed the door, and it was wintertime. So she's frustrated and kind of crying a little bit, and there's a line, so I drove off, but I'm like, she didn't get in the building yet. So I parked the car and I walked to the front of the door to go and like see her go in, and she's there saying her affirmations. I could hear her, because she's afraid, and she's like waiting for them to open up the door. And I'm like, man, all of this stuff means something, even if I don't know how much it means, so although the intent was good, the impact was also good, although it was still performative. So I'm trying to like own both sides of it.
Yeah, because if we don't, we'll overlook the parts that are taking them off balance. Because when we're performing, other aspects come out, whether or not we know it or not. Y'all living, because we hurt people and we don't even really realize or even know that we do hurt each other a lot of the time. And guess what else? We always going to hurt each other. That's another thing I want to say. And I think that part of that is we have to expect that, in a sense. But we have to set limits. And that's one of the most difficult things to do, is to set limits and boundaries with others. I know we often talk about that, and Sister Trina always comes for me with it. She's already getting embraced. but we have to, and it have to be healthy. It's something that's on my mind, but it kind of slipped my mind. So, yes, sir. Yep.
Only getting better, never bitter. Hard times make a real one realer. Mighty lost one, but I'm still that winner. Bloody bottom sipping on extra killer. I've been to the bottom of the well. I've seen every shadow of myself. I weathered the storm without a sail. That's how I know I can prevail. See, I've loved and lost and learned to love again. And my only regret is I miss my friend, but I gotta find a way back. Find a way back. Find a way back. unsilenceable voice. Oh, so supple and moist. I am the obvious choice. Thick like butter, make everything better. Thick like leather. Drop me in the wilderness, baby, I'm a setter. I'ma own a place while you still play catcher. Never surrender, never let out. I'm just seeking my center. Raising up my antenna.
What does returning to sacred self mean for me today? What does that mean to you? Returning to your sacred self, finding your way back through the noise and through the tears, as Sister Moon Fresh is, trying to find my way back, searching for the sacred part of me, underneath these old memories, the pain that made me hide my face and forget my destiny, find my way back. Trying to find my way back. What does that look like?
I think, while you've been talking, the thing that keeps coming to my mind is saying no man is an island. And what it's saying to me is when you are involved in family and community, it's much harder to get to that inner self and to get to find your way back. Because you're not only dealing with yourself, you're getting interrupted all the time. You think you got yourself under control. Okay, I know what I'm doing. And then somebody else comes back and they ain't got the script. They in another play. They rehearsing another play that don't go along with what you doing, what you trying to put on the stage, and it's it makes it I can even get talk about last night, okay? It ain't like that.
All right, now, Sister Trina.
No, y'all know my pet thing, you layer.
Your favorite. Yeah.
You layer the bane of my existence. And I love her to pieces, but she took me there last night, and it was something very simple, just trying to make her clean up her room, because her whole thing was, it's my room. Why does it have to look like the way you want it to? Why can't it look like the way I want it to? I don't mind, this stuff being all around and this, that, and the other. And to try to remain my peaceful, calm, because, I started out this thing, like, okay, I can't beat her. I ain't going to cuss her out. Well, So I got to go through different kinds of theories just to try to get to this little 8-year-old girl. And it's just not easy anymore. And I don't know if that's got something to do with my age too. I know it ain't got nothing to do with wage, but but I mean, it's just like I'm saying, it's hard to get to that inner self, even, if you're talking about meditation or whatever, because, you're sitting up, you're trying to get there, and then this thought comes to your mind, like, while you're trying to be quiet and reflect on something else. So, I don't know. It's, I think that once upon a time, it wasn't that easy. It wasn't that hard.
Difficult.
It wasn't that hard, right? But the more people I get to know, the more people I'm involved with, I'm trying to solve their problems. And even though they ain't asked me to solve them, I'm sitting up feeling like, well, I'm supposed to be a wise elder. I'm supposed to know what to say to get them to respond the way that I feel like they should respond.
So you drop seeds, but you want to see them grow at the same time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That becomes the issue. That then when I'm trying to fix, that's the piece that the struggle. That is going back to our first question. How am I performing healing?
Yeah, that's
And not
what
returning-
I wondered if that's what you were saying.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
So how am I in performing healing in a sense, in a real way, but also at the same time not taking reality into what's the word, y'all? I'm looking.
Imagination.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like what you said
Or-
earlier. I think I have something called we have to shift our image, right? It's like a flick shift. So I have a word for it in my book, but it's like we have to change the picture we see. If we don't change the picture, you said it earlier, you said it a different way, but if we don't change the image of how we think things ought to be, then we'll always be stuck there. That means that the picture is not adding up with reality. It's not realistic.
Right.
So if it's not realistic and everybody is doing their thing but doesn't fit your portrait, then you have to do something about changing your portrait. And sometimes that portrait, it tells you how you now have to engage with them. See, the thing is, lots of times we think that we ought to be, and everything has to be the way it's been, the way it's always been, the way that I perceived it to be, and all these type of things. But that's when we get stuck. I call that emotional stuckness. The image is stuck. And then what we do our best is trying to create that reality that's not a reality. And we do everything, but people have not signed up for it. Even if they did, they ain't following through. I find that I have to change my image. And sometimes even in these spaces, like, oh, he changed his image. Yes, because I'm not getting stuck. I've been stuck long enough. So at some point you say, I've been stuck there. That's the thing. You're like, hold up. Hold up. This is when you got to speak to yourself. Say, all right, but I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And it's going to feel very uncomfortable if I change some things, but I got to change the thing. And everybody not going to like it. The person that I'm changing it with, I might not like it because it's going to have me distance or create new patterns of engaging. But also the main thing I think we have to change is the reality that reality doesn't match my reality. We got to do a reality check. It was something else you said. But how is it hard? It's when it's too hard to go on yourself, that means that you're not taking care of yourself enough. Not you, Mike. But means that we're not taking care of ourselves enough. There's never a time where we should find ourselves saying that we can't find some level of reprieve. We ain't at war like some people are. I bet you they even find it. So when we have community and family, that's the external. But we have to do that internal work, because my thing is we're being negligent. We're being negligent if we don't take care of ourselves. So I promise you, whatever thing we're doing is hurting other people if we intend to or not. Because if we're not taking care of ourselves, somebody gave me an example the other day talking about, well, don't they say take the mask and off the airplane and put it in yourself? And I said, yeah, that's true, but you're not doing that. You're doing something totally different. This is somebody else. So we have to take care of ourselves, and it's not being what everybody say? You have to be, what is it called? What's the term? Everybody say you gotta be stingy. You gotta be selfish. That's what people say. You don't have to be selfish. Because the reality is what you do for yourself will help other people. If you're able to control yourself and manage yourself, you'll have more. Your relationships will be better. If you have a better idea that's closer to reality, then people won't feel that you're trying to control their narrative, their way of living, their way of being. I know there has to be standards, but lots of times what we're doing, we're trying to do something more than uphold standards. What we're trying to do is settle our nerves through other people. I'm trying to settle my nerves so you can't do that. I don't want you to do that. I'm afraid, and the reality is it just don't work like that. Bob. Go to my man, and we're gonna get out of here soon. Pump it up too.
Yes, I met a girl this morning. She was love at first sight. Ooh, I met a girl this morning, and she was beauty to my eyes. I asked her where she from, she tell me in the topics. She asked me what's my name, I tell her I am Connie's. And I said, girl, tell me what's your name, and she tell me that her name is Jamaica. And I said, smile, girl, smile. Smile for me, Jamaica. And I said, smile, girl, smile. Ooh, Lord, smile for me, Jamaica. Never you cry, here am I. Yeah, I'm here for you, Jamaica. Dry your eyes, girl, smile. Smile for me, Jamaica. Lord. Hey, she have a rich history, a beautiful woman with the sweetest gifts, beautiful sunrise and an evening kiss of a nice sunset on the evening season. But she tell me say she tired of the exploit and the liars. She give them reggae, give them beaches, give them flowers and the ferns. All she got is abuse in return. But I say, don't you worry yourself, mama.
Now you know that was the song I really wanted to play. I messed up on that one, but it was still good. The song I really wanted, is mine. But I knew it was an upbeat song. But you know which one I wanted? No, you didn't do it. I did it. I wanted people see me smile, but they don't know the pain that I feel inside. Huh? Yeah. Chronics, same artist right here.
Dear Jaman, Chronics reminding you, asking you kindly to give that thanks and praise. I said in everything, give Jah the thanks and praise. Jah, just remember this in everything you do. Wherever you go, bring Jah along the way. I never stop my problem.
Mama Johnny had some food happening, right? So Chronic said, they see me smile, but they don't know what I feel inside, or something like that. I think is, and a lot of us are walking around like that. So my closing reflection, the inward rite is not a moment. It's a walk. Sacred selfhood is not given to us by titles, ceremonies, or applause. It's returned to by choice. May you walk with spirit, with clarity and quiet strength. Yeah, so it's not about the external, it's about internal. I guess this one is like, how do I return inside? Has anybody got any things like how some suggestions on our way out? How do we return inside? Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is a suggestion, but it's what I'm trying to do. And it kind of ties in with the things I said before. You are who you are when nobody's watching. And I think I spend so much time focused on what other people think, and even sometimes by myself, recording myself to even be performative, that like just spending much more time by myself and observing that version of me. And that's a much more realistic version of me, because only person holding me accountable to that version is me.
Anybody else?
So for me, I'm thinking towards like self-care, putting yourself first or whatever. If you don't have anything to give, don't put yourself first. That's how I'm thinking about it. And do the inner work as well. Like you said it's like it's a constant thing. It's not a place where I thought at one point you just arrive and you're good, but it's constant work. So always do the work or whatever, because the healer needs healing too. You know what I mean? Type of thing. So do what you got to do to stay. Because on every level, we are leaders. If it's not about governing ourselves, our children, our families, or whatever, at some point, you got to look at yourself as a leader and you need to take care of yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, the inner self. I think I said this before. I was out in Drew Hill Park and I was doing Tai Chi, and I was like, getting the inner self of me, trying to feel all the movements and expressions and nature all around me. And then it came to me, okay, it's good knowing all of this, but to know thyself, it says, right? So knowing thyself is more than just knowing the feeling of it. You got parts inside your body that's actually working for you. You know what I'm saying? And some of us don't even know where those parts are located. You know what I'm saying? So that's part of knowing ourselves too and loving ourselves. And I think you said earlier, and I always say it, if you can't love yourself, ain't nowhere in the world you can love other people. Ashe?
Ashe. You got something?
Silent retreat. It's just you and nature. When you it's no talking, and there are retreats that I've heard about that have helped a lot of people, where it's just dark rooms. Like some people are blindfolded, and it's just you and yourself for about 7 days.
Yeah.
So that's really a suggestion. I would love to try it.
Absolutely. I would suggest, one of the things that I would say I do is every day. I'm in there every day. But I think that sometimes we're afraid to go in there. And I think, but the more you go in there, the more you realize that you can handle it. Because it's like go through a stage of hyper focusing on something. I'm talking about inside of you, hyper focus. Like, be with yourself, hyper focus. Ask your questions about yourself. Build your metacognitive ability. Because it's more than a behavior or an act. It's really where you begin to challenge. Be comfortable challenging yourself and know that you'll be okay, even if you find out that you don't like some things about yourself. Because the truth is, you're going to find some things you don't like about yourself. But then you will change. You can change those things. And you'll get out of your way and other people's way. And you'll learn some things, and you will grow from the process. It's painful, but again, there's something called dirty pain and clean pain. And lots of times we, as a whole, stay in that clean pain or that dirty pain versus the going inward and dealing with that dirty pain, that clean pain, I got to do the work. So, and when I mean that, we got to do that on a psychosocial, emotional level. Psychosocial, emotional, spiritual level. I'm talking about really knowing who that fragile aspect of yourself. Know who that is. What are you covering up? What out the fancy words, the fancy cars, the fancy emotions, the intellectual, all of that. What are you how are you? What is that child inside of you saying? That pure child, that engaged with this world and had to cover itself up, protect itself. So much so that I put a note down earlier and I didn't say it, but I think that we have to realize we've been lied to. And then we don't realize we've been lied to. I'm talking about on a serious level.
that we were told that if you do this, you'll feel this way. If you accomplish this, this will bring you joy. If you just fill this box, you just go to school, you just get a good job, you just do any of these type of things, it will help you be very comfortable. In fact, all of it's a lie. And nobody gets pleasure out of chasing things that the society tells you must chase. Some people may, but at the end of the day, it's not going to fulfill you. You have to be okay within yourself. Find what they say, people tend to be more joyful and happy when they do things that serve something greater than themselves in a genuine way, not just to get pats on the back. Pats on the back are okay, because sometimes we need that affirmation. But also what I heard in this room today is that some of us feel like imposters. We have to really understand that we are not imposters, that we are truly great people. Baba. Oh, you forgot? Oh, okay. That we're truly great people. So yeah, and so in closing, I thought Baba had something to close us out. We let Mama Mumu Fresh take us home. And I'll say the work is continual. Try to have that space every day. If you can't think or reflect, you should feel that you're robbing yourself. If you can't reflect on yourself, just know you are. Because everything outside of you has you know how it feels. It feels like an addiction when you can't really reflect on yourself. It feels like everything has me just moving towards it. I want to be versus me slowing down, being able to funnel inside what is actually going on. We're continuously looking for things outside of us. The magic potion, the equation, the mathematical equation, the elixir of life, but not knowing that all of that happens there. We have to really deal with reality. And I'm being honest, we have to deal with people. On all levels, we have been deluded. We delude ourselves like people. We understand this life is finite. We have to realize that when you really tap in and understand that the world is finite and that your time is limited here on this level, and you really come close to that daily, I believe that in a healthy way, you can begin to appreciate what you have here. You can appreciate yourself. You can appreciate others. But I'm talking about not escape from it. The reality is we have to stop hitting the F that switch. We try to escape from ourselves. We try to escape from our own feelings, our own everything. Escapism should be used for ritual, not in everyday practice. But what I will say is, in practice, you should go within. And really, when you ask people about yourself, because we can't see it. Ask people the hard questions. Have somebody in your corner that you can create a safe enough space that they will tell you the truth. And that you can understand that that truth doesn't have to harm you, hurt you, or debilitate you. So, all right, Baba.
Get out of pocket in my first class seat. If I don't give a fuck about what you're saying to me, if I'm too big for my britches, then give me a sheet. I need room to grow. I'm still figuring it out. And if you say you ain't, you lying. Hell, you talking about balancing single parenting with music business leveraging can get discouraging. My mind stay worrying every morning. I just keep emerging to try again. Consummating paper to pen, French toast, scrambled eggs, hot toddy with gin. Homeschool my baby boy to make his find a weapon. He the coolest dude I ever known. I'm grateful for him. He an angel. How you saying that we made him and sent me and my baby father just couldn't keep it together. He say I hit him in his mouth. Don't believe what he tell you. Some things are only meant for a season. I used to hate him. Now I tell him thank you when I see him. I was the plant, he was the seed. Love and pain watered us, and a man child came to be. Most things ain't it meant forever. May 22nd, 2007, we split up. I slept in a car, breastfeeding a baby for half a year for reasons like pride and fear. I've been through so much shit, I'm surprised I'm still standing. So every time I see a mirror, I pose, damn it. It's a celebration every time I'm waking. Even if my angels wake me out, my dreams shaking. I'm saying, yeah, one love to my nephew Khalil. You a king, I can see why God chose you for his. And through your two sons, forever you live. These Baltimore streets, they deserve you, kid. And if you find them motherfuckers, then you know what it is. My bad, I ain't supposed to be talking like this, but this pain don't contain political correctness. I let it pour out, however it comes, for every son of every mother who never get to recover. Still trying to find new reasons to live, to keep pushing forward, now with a broadness. Like the north wind that ravaged the garden, freezing it over. Praying to God to one day to get over. When we gotta get over, still throwing salt over shoulders. And if the devil's a bogus, then God is Mount Everest. And I'ma die climbing up that bitch. No telling on the mountain. Lean not into your own understanding. Ooh, it'll lead you astray. But trust in the Lord, it'll be okay. The mountain. Lean not into your own understanding. Ooh, it'll lead you astray. But trust in the Lord, it'll be okay. The mountain. Cannot receive what God has to pour into you. I learned it from my grandma and she never finished school. Her neck should have been bare from all the dropping of the jewels. She heard it in the whispering of the wind, spread the news. Good things come to those who wait and pay the dues. Little Mississippi never had a pair of shoes, so she hit the windy city, then she got 32. Seeing progress is the greatest motivator, like the little boy who sketched turned into elevators. But moving up ain't always moving right now. But trust in the Lord and he will give you new sight. To see the unseen and know the unknown instead of living through the tiny window of your ego. I ain't got the answer, Sway, but this I know. We're all works in progress, trying to find our way home on the mountain. Lean not into your own understanding. Ooh, it'll lead you astray, but trust in the Lord.
All right, so to close it out, just want to lead us in Harambe's, 7 Harambe's, I believe. So fists in the air. 1, 2. Harambe, 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 Harambe. Y'all have a wonderful week.
Champion, champion,
born for this, die for this. I'm a gangara, champion, born for this, die for this.